Hello and welcome everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. We would like to wish those of you who've just logged on and those of you who are here at the live studio. We've got 30 people here. We are beaming to you live from the headquarters of Sun Life Malaysia in Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman, Kuala Lumpur. My name is Nazruddin Rahman, your master of fun for this fun session that we'll be having. Inshallah, it'll be an informative yet fun session brought to you by Sun Life Malaysia. Welcome to Sun Life Malaysia's Brighter Wellness E-Forum. Everybody can applause. Those of you at home also can clap. We have a nice live feeling right here as we impart the knowledge of four thought experts right here with you. Now, Sun Life Malaysia is a leading life insurance and family takaful provider in Malaysia, committed to bringing brighter lives to all rakyat marhain Malaysia. And we speak about the new normal this time, ladies and gentlemen. That's on everyone's mind as we bring everyone up to speed here at Sun Life Malaysia's Brighter Wellness E-Forum. We all have experienced 2020. It's the month of July already, and it's safe to say that everyone can't wait for 2020 to be over. So much so that the number one hit on Spotify, if you guys have Spotify accounts, the number one song right now is a song called Expletive You 2020. That's how so many people wish for 2020 to be over, especially with the rise of the global pandemic COVID-19. Here in Malaysia, the COVID experience is one of a kind, with the movement control order, where it has Malaysians living on edge. And then now we're in the recovery period at the RMCO. And now we talk about SOP, standard operating procedures, when we socialize with our friends, when we, of course, go to the workplace, and they have rules and regulations. In school, parents out there, yesterday was the first day of school, and I'm sure many parents are going absolutely bananas at trying to cope with this new normal. And so with all these stresses, whether it's financially, physically, or even spiritually, we are facing tough times every day. With the purpose of helping Malaysians to achieve lifetime financial security and live healthier lives under the sun, today's forum aims to help empower parents out there, and those of you in the room, those of you logged in as well, that this knowledge will help them live brighter lives in Malaysia, where we talk about topics of financial, physical, mental, and spiritual wellness. That's the four components of today's forum. Yeah, we talk about wellness of the mind, wellness of the body, wellness of the spirit, and wellness right here in your pocket, financial wellness. And we have four thought experts who will be sharing their bits together with us as well. Without further ado, let me briefly introduce the speakers of Sun Life Malaysia's Brighter Wellness E-Forum. We shall begin. The first segment is financial wellness, so everybody get your questions ready as well as we speak to Mr. Raymond Liu, CEO and President, as well as Country Head of Sun Life Malaysia. Thank you for being here, sir. Followed by a sharing session on physical wellness and who is in top physical condition other than action star as well as brand ambassador to Sun Life Malaysia, Encik Hairul Azrin. And of course, with the MCO, his janggut is a little bit extra as usual. Then we shall continue with the topic mental wellness. We have with us Dr. Amir Siddiq, 15 years in the industry and is esteemed University Malaysia psychologist. Thank you, Dr. Amir, for being here with us. We hope to have a very fruitful session. And finally, we speak about spirituality, how to be strong in the face of COVID-19 by Ustaz Biker kita, Ustaz Halim, a familiar face with Sun Life Malaysia. Apa khabar, Ustaz? Assalamualaikum.
Baik, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Of course, his face really inspires sunshine. I think that's why Sun Life Malaysia still have you on board for their programs. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we shall not be wasting any time. We've got about an hour. I won't be wasting time.
We can't control, right? Like this pandemic, we never knew that such a virus around, right? So, are we prepared? So when we fall sick, when we seek treatment, are we going to exhaust our entire life savings, to fund the medical bill? So it is very important, that we need to get ourselves prepared for it. Yeah. And generally, the rules is that we spend X percentage of our gross income to save as a premium, and then in return, we get exponential sum of medical coverage. So if anything happened to us, our savings still intact, and then we are covered and provided for, under the insurance proceeds, to fund our medical bill.
I'd like to ask Ustaz Halim with regards to this issue as well. Bila kita cakap tentang awareness, of course kita ada hadis yang daripada Rasulullah SAW menyatakan bahawa kita harus ikat unta kita dulu sebelum kita bertawakal. So maybe your thoughts on that.
Sebab tawakal kan. So tawakal tu dia kena mulakan dengan effort dulu, kita punya usaha. So contoh macam kita tak boleh tinggalkan kita punya unta macam tu je, kita kena ikat dulu, kita kena pastikan selamat, kita kena pastikan unta tak lari, tak dicuri, and then that is what we call tawakal. So kita kena usaha dulu baru kita boleh bertawakal. Sometimes people are misunderstood. Dia kata okay, tak apalah, biarlah, tawakal lah, anything happens, tak apalah, tawakal lah.
Kalau unta saya lari, saya tak ikat sebab Allah dah tentukan. Allah
Itu miskonsep, itu salah lah. Jadi macam kita ambil takaful dan sebagainya, itu adalah persediaan untuk keluarga kita. So anything happens, kita ada peace of mind.
Good, peace of mind. Yes. And as a parent as well, I want peace of mind, not just for myself, but for my children. And so this one I'm going to ask Raymond. So finances can be quite a complicated topic for parents to approach. I wanted to follow on the question of our children or our youth are not educated enough. So how do parents tackle this sensitive topic? Like for Raymond, your son turned 21. Wow, my father never gave me that talk, My father was like, your birthday already, birthday. That's it, And then he let me loose in the real world. So should parents take a more proactive approach like what you've done with your son?
Yeah, I think one of the solution available is to establish and build a habit of savings. I think that's
maintaining
very
habits.
important.
Yeah,
Yes,
I like that.
I think the concept of savings or menabung, so why do we want to save? I think on top of mind is to save for our future and to save for rainy days. When the unexpected happen. So, and do you know that insurance or takaful is a most powerful form of forced savings. Yeah. So in many instances, if you say I save money in my bank, the bank account, actually, yes and no, that may not be a good form of saving. Because when you see some money there, then you say, I better upgrade my phone. Yeah. So the iPhone 12 is coming. Then I think I want to use a better phone. Yeah. So you may withdraw the money. Yeah. So and like you may see a new model coming out, a new car or new bike, so you say, I want to upgrade my car.
So you can't keep yourself from dipping your hands in the cookie jar.
yes, because too many temptation, right?
But a lot of parents also say, why you want to teach my son to menabung at such a young age? I give him RM1, he put 10 cents, 10%. 10 cents save, how much money can he save? But is it really about the money?
Yeah, I think the habit, the consistency make a huge difference. Actually, we may not want to underestimate the power of compound interest.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely very critical. I think a simple calculation, the RM1 you have now, if you save it, you put it aside, after 25 years, it's become like almost RM3.
Wow,
yeah,
3 times.
So yeah, 3 times. Can you imagine over years, you keep on doing that, So I think the end result is simply overwhelming. Yeah. So what is most important for us is to have that discipline to save.
So for parents to inculcate the habit of saving.
Yep.
So as you grow up in future, it becomes automatic within you.
Yes.
I like that. I like that suggestion. Thank you so much, Raymond. Hopefully parents out there start thinking about strategies on how to make my children save, to inculcate this habit from young. Thank you very much, Raymond. And of course, we invite any comments from our other panelists, as well as you guys out there. It's not a one-way session, Please drop in your questions, anything at all pertaining to these 4 elements that we'll be discussing today: financial wellness, physical wellness, mental health, as well as spirituality. Also, not to forget, stay till the end of the session for a chance to win some cash vouchers. It's as good as cash. So stick with us all the way to the end. We'll have a lucky draw session. Now let's move on to our brand ambassador of Sun Life Malaysia as we talk about physicality. Now, our brand ambassador here is one of Malaysia's biggest action stars. If you have not watched Pascal or Wira, they were blockbusters at the movies. My goodness, where have you been? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Encik Hairul Azrin.
Hai, apa khabar semua? Apa khabar Nas?
Khabar baik Encik Hairul. Dah lama dia selalu pakai mask saja kan? lepas tu dia MCO, lepas tu RMCO, kesian dia tak cukup sampai sekarang. Adakah ini bulu-bulu jantan anda?
Ini nak simpan untuk raya haji.
Riba tu raya haji terus. That's what we call jimat cermat masa COVID-19. Dulu pun dia jimat sekali. Okay, of course, you've reached out to many lives, especially being the ambassador of Sun Life Malaysia with the Resolution Run. I saw how the runners were connecting with you. Everybody wants to be healthy like you know. So I wanted to ask maybe a little personal question. Were you always so fit? And what gave you the passion for fitness?
Okay, hai, apa khabar semua? Saya nak cakap, saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Sun Life Malaysia sebab adakan e-forum ni. Sebab saya biasanya kalau bercakap pun biasa ke depan orang ramai.
Kan pelik kan?
Dan hari ni kita berada di depan kamera.
Selamat datang ke norma baru. Itu dia.
So, satu benda yang macam agak pelik untuk saya. Tapi tak apa, dan kita semua boleh buat benda tu.
Betul, bagus.
Okey, macam soalan Nas tadi tu, macam saya rasa dulu saya main sukan, saya main taekwondo dan saya seminggu 4 kali training.
Wow.
So saya dah biasa dengan kehidupan sihat.
I see.
Okay.
So dididik sejak muda lah ni.
Ya, daripada kecil.
Sebab ada di antara mereka yang betul-betul gila fitness
Betul, ada juga.
Masa dia orang muda tu mungkin dia orang ada masalah berat badan. Tu saya nak tanya, Hairul dulu cabi ke? Benda-benda macam tu kan. So, saya tanya soalan ni kerana banyak orang di luar sana, our viewers, our live viewers as well, and myself as a parent saya tengok orang macam awak kat Instagram kan, saya rasa tak guna langsung. Tahu tak? Saya rasa macam mana saya nak jadi hebat macam dia? How do you even begin? So maybe a tip for motivation, terutamanya masa COVID-19 ni.
Okay, masa kita duduk di rumah berbulan-bulan masa COVID-19 tu, banyak situasi yang kita lalui yang kita tak pernah dan tak pernah jangka. Macam masa Eman cakap tadi, kita tak boleh menduga apa yang jadi akan datang. Sebab itulah adanya Sun Life untuk kita protect diri kita, protect masa depan. Walaupun kita simpan duit pun kita belum tentu lagi tahu apa yang akan jadi. Takkan kita nak keluarkan duit untuk bayar apa-apa jadi kat kita, betul?
Untuk saya health is wealth sebenarnya.
Yes, betul. So bagi saya, kalau kata kita tak sihat, semua benda kita buat tak best. Contoh macam kalau saya sendiri pun, saya pun manusia. Saya tak biasanya pergi gym 24 jam, pergi jogging 24 jam. Okay, saya berpandangan kalau kata saya ada perasaan yang macam tiba-tiba saya mengah, maknanya saya tak fit. Maknanya saya rasa macam mungkin saya gemuk, mungkin saya
tak cukup kardio,
betul. Semua orang ada kelemahan. Macam bos sendiri tahu yang saya tak boleh jogging. Saya tak boleh jogging sebab saya tak tahu.
Orang yang fit jadi tak boleh jogging.
So bila kita, macam saya ada kelemahan, saya tak boleh jogging jauh. Okay, so kelemahan saya tukar dengan saya main basikal.
I see.
Saya main badminton. So at least saya buat something yang macam, okay, mungkin saya kelemahan saya kat situ. Contoh macam anda semua, ada yang kekurangan, mungkin saya tak boleh, saya lahir saya tak boleh jogging. Main basikal. Saya lahir saya tak boleh jogging. Mungkin kita boleh main swimming. Buat je apa-apa aktiviti, menari pun salah satu benda yang
so alasan hanya berada di minda anda lah begitu.
Jangan jadikan alasan tu sebagai
alasan tu satu hal, sebab kita rakyat marahan yang biasa-biasa lah kan. Betul. Nak bangun jogging, alamak dah pukul 8 panas sangat, tak apalah, tak payah jogging. Jadi macam mana nak motivasikan diri kita tu? Anda sebagai ketua keluarga kan, betul. Do you see your family as a form of motivation? Jadi adakah Kak Ani Zalika kita, Yusof dan anak perempuan baru you, adakah dia menjadi pendorong you untuk terus fit?
Bagi saya, ibu bapa adalah contoh dan anak akan ikut. Kalau kita tengok anak tu tiba-tiba dia solat, mesti mak bapak dia selalu solat. Kalau dia tengok anak-anak tu tiba-tiba berkelakuan baik, behave, so mungkin mak dia yang macam tu. Kalau anak tu jenis macam mengamuk, marah sana, marah sini, mungkin mak dia sendiri yang marah ataupun bapak dia macam, kau jangan buat, jangan main.
Itu saya setuju. Kepada parents kat luar sana, pernah tak you tengok anak you tiba-tiba dia marah orang, lepas tu ya Allah betul-betul dia marah macam aku. Kan. Dia pick it up right from
betul. So itu semuanya bermula pada kita. Kalau kita sendiri mendidik sesuatu yang tak baik, kita nak contoh, dia tak tahu pun macam mana itu marah. Dia tak pernah tengok pun marah tu apa. Tetapi bila dia tengok kita, oh dia boleh buat, aku boleh buat. So itu yang membuatkan kita adalah contoh.
I see.
Kan, betul. So macam dari segi fitness apa semua tu, macam saya selalu cakap dekat Sun Life kalau saya ada event ke apa, saya cakap kenapa kat sekolah lu ada PJK? Kenapa kena ada PJK? Sebenarnya kita perlukan masa 30 minit je untuk bersukan. Susah ke nak buat benda tu? Kadang-kadang
30 minutes a day, ya?
ya, kalau kata kita main handphone, kadang-kadang kita check Instagram, Facebook apa semua, dah 1 jam.
Kan?
Boleh. 1 jam dah, lupa nak solat. Apa kata daripada buat macam tu? Baik pun workout je lah. Sama ada workout ataupun kita
Tak,
pergi.
Yang orang semua scroll Instagram 1 jam tu pun pasal awak juga. Sebab awak letak konten yang begitu menarik. Dia tadi lompat sana lompat sini dengan anak-anak dia tau. Hebat. So actually your social media has become motivation for many of us as well. Actually I look to you, I want to be a fitter father because of you. Really. Jangan berkecilkan apa tu peranan awak sebagai ambassador Sunlight Malaysia. Betul. Last question I nak tanyalah sebab awak kata anak-anak kita ni tengok kat kita dan ikut apa kita buat. Dari segi new normal, SOP dan juga MCO dan sebagainya, how do you keep your family safe? Ada SOP kat rumah?
Okey, terus terang saya cakap macam saya cakap tadi, saya adalah manusia biasa. Saya tak biasa. Saya tak biasa macam balik rumah kena cuci tangan. Saya tak biasa balik rumah terus pergi bilik air mandi.
Yes.
Saya tak biasa benda tu. So pada permulaannya wife saya yang macam mengajar macam ayang kena ambil tahu ini ada penyakit baru. Masa tu belum MCO lagi. So saya rasa macam tak ada apa ni, macam demam biasalah demam. Isteri saya yang menegakkan saya macam ayang benda ni bahaya. Ayang basuh tangan. Macam tu juga macam Sun Life selalu cakap sediakan masa depan. Kita tak tahu apa yang akan jadi. Begitu juga macam wife saya selalu cakap macam ayang tak tahu esok lusa apa jadi. Dan nak jadikan kita tiba-tiba lockdown. Ayang nampak tak? Lockdown.
Now this is something I will have to discuss with Dr. Amir later as well when we talk about the psychology of husband and wife. Sebab kita ni lelaki, saya cakap terang-terang. Siapa lelaki yang rasa dia tak ada ego, angkat tangan. Angkat tangan. Kalau dia angkat tangan, dia penipu. Okay, saya cakap terang-terang. Kita lelaki ni ada ego kan. Especially bila isteri kata, pakai mask, pakai tu. Kita nanti, what do you know? You know, you've got this reaction. So insyaAllah, I like the fact that Hairul really does communicate with his wife. Komunikasi sangat penting. Betul. Dan ambillah niat isteri dengan hati yang terbuka pada suami. Okay? Sebab MCO ni kadar divorce pun kian meningkat. Actually, we'll speak about that a little bit more later.
Macam tadi Bos Raymond ada cakap tadi 3 benda yang dia cakap. Satunya kena jaga diri sendiri. Dua, jaga kita punya kerjaya. Ketiga, kita macam mana nak protect nak mencari duit pun semua. So benda tu adalah penting. Kalau kita tak jaga diri kita, macam mana kita nak jaga orang sekeliling? Macam saya ketua keluarga, macam saya rasa semua kat sini ketua keluarga. Kita, kalau saya sendiri tak boleh nak basuh tangan, saya sendiri tak boleh nak mandi balik pada rumah. Ini sebelum MCO. So macam mana orang nak ikut? Macam mana kita nak jaga orang sekeliling kita, kiri kanan kita? Kalau kita jaga kita, semua orang akan jadi yang baik. Betul. Happy birthday untuk Yosan.
Oh ya, happy birthday Liu Junior. Mr. Liu Junior. Well done. Terima kasih. Tepuk tangan untuk Encik Hairul Azrin kita. Thank you for the motivation and keep on motivating people through your social media, man. Teruskan somersault anda yang kita rakyat biasa tak boleh buat. And I like the fact that Hairul has shared the aspect of being open in a marriage communication as part of taking care of our mental health as well. As I mentioned earlier, one of the statistics that have been going up is the divorce rate, not just in Malaysia, but across the globe. Now, this is something alarming actually, and who better to speak this particular topic about than our next respondent that we've invited here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been in the business for 15 years. He is the Associate Professor at the Department of Psychological Medicine at University Malaya. Also, he's a consultant psychiatrist in University Malaya Medical Center. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you've heard his sweet voice before on BFM's Mind Matters podcast. I enjoyed that podcast actually. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Amir Siddiq Amir Nordin.
Thank you, Nas.
Associate Professor of Psychological Medicine at University Malaya. Now, Dr. Amir, maybe we'll touch on what Hairul mentioned earlier in terms of communication between husband and wife and the rising divorce rate. Why do you think that is?
I think, first of all, thank you, Sunlight, for inviting me here, and also for you, Nas, and everybody. I'm actually learning a lot from Raymond and also Hyrule just sitting here. Yeah. I
Wow.
think the first thing that we need to take note is, as we know that the COVID pandemic is unprecedented. So there are lots of things that we've prepared that have gone out of plan. And I think that's the first thing that we need to take note, including our relationships at home. Yeah, we've got a system whereby we might send our kids in the morning and then our wife goes to work, we come back, there's a certain number of hours. Unless we're on holiday, we're going to be with our spouses for a long period of time. Yeah. Most marriages, of course, the courtship has a lot of communication, but once you get married, sometimes that communication gets a little bit lesser.
Yeah,
So
I see all
it's-
the husbands all like.
So in the COVID pandemic, during the movement control order, particularly, people were stuck at home 24/7 for almost 3 months. And if you did not have good communication skills with your spouse and your family, children, mother, father, even with your maid, conflict is bound to happen. And again, there might be certain ways that we know how to cope, but then of course there are many ways that we do not know how to cope because it was an unprecedented situation, which was imposed on us suddenly. And I think that's where we've noticed a rise in conflict. And of course, some of them have become escalated to become more problematic issues, which you see in Malaysia and also across the world.
Well, not just parents or communication between husband and wife. We see the decline of mental health across the globe, no matter which category you fall into
Yeah.
because of COVID-19. Yeah. So moving forward, there's also a strong stigma surrounding mental health. Many people are going through depression at this point. That is a big issue among our youth, and of course, the older generation are also realizing the fact that it is a real problem, not just in Malaysia but around the globe. Why do you think that is? A lot of people are saying this new generation of youth, they call the strawberry generation. You know, tak boleh handle sikit stress pun sudah koyak, hati macam tisu macam tu. Why do you think that is, doctor? And is this stigma of just suck it up, how healthy is it?
So I think first, before we actually talk about stigma, we've really got to be very clear that health includes 3 components. So we've got Hyrule here for physical health, which I think is excellent. We've got both Raymond and Ustaz over here for social well-being. And then, of course, the third component of health is mental health. So if one of these compartments or these chapters is not in sync, the person is actually not healthy.
I like this particular definition that you've shared with us. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It is not merely the complete absence of disease or infirmity. Just because you're not sick, just because you're not infirm, doesn't necessarily mean you're not.
Exactly. Yeah. So the other thing is that when we talk about mental health, it's invincible. And I think this is where the stigma comes in. So stigma is basically a prejudice or discrimination that happens on an individual is different from all of us. And because you can't see the person's struggle and pain, therefore you can't relate. Right? I think the COVID pandemic and the movement control order, when the demands were beyond what was able to cope, and you were feeling some emotional reaction, that is mental distress. And in a way, that is a mental health issue that I think now people can be more relatable.
When does the issue become a disorder? Where is that thin line?
The thin line is when the function is lost.
Ah.
Yeah, the function is lost. So again, this goes back to your, the strawberry generation. So this individual who we would expect to be able to function in school, at work, at home, is unable to function. And if it's not because of a physical disorder or physical issue, and this person relates psychological symptoms, frustration, stress, sleep disturbances, anxiety, anger, then therefore the mental health or the mental well-being is affected at that point. So when it becomes the point that he can't function at all, he's now struggling with a mental disorder.
I see.
And that's where you probably need some help at that point.
That's the breaking point where help is needed. So moving forward, especially for us out there, I relate an experience that I've had. Maybe any of you who have experiences dealing with a depressed person, maybe you can share your thoughts as well, where you see this person perfectly normal. I mean, we've known him for over 20 years, his ex-schoolmate, always interacting on social media, WhatsApp. When you sit down, he's always a barrel of laughs. But he did not show any signs of depression until I was told by one of the family members that he tried to take his life. And I think the first reaction for Malaysians when you hear someone loved try to do that, I think the person going through depression doesn't realize that the effect is goes outward. Yeah, when someone wants to kill themselves, the best friend, the parent, the mother will first be thinking about, what did I do wrong? You know, so moving forward, how do we identify? Maybe there's some markers that we Malaysians can realize among our loved ones to identify depression.
So I think the first thing in terms of mental well-being in general, the first identification, well, the first thing is you need to educate yourself. And I think this is why it's really important that we have discussions about mental health when we communicate about health. You know, sometimes when we talk about health, it's always about even the financial health, which is a really important aspect, and the spiritual health we neglect. What more than mental health? So I think the first thing is to educate yourself about mental health. The second thing is about being cognizant and aware about your surroundings, including your friends and family. A change of behavior could be a symptom that things are not right. Yeah, whether it is social well-being issues or mental health issues, it just means that something's not right with your friend and family. So just being a little bit more cognizant about their
Attentive,
attentive about their issues is the second aspect. I think the third aspect is also what we say, ask, right? Ask the individual whether they are struggling or if they have a problem. And we often talk about the TALK, Let's Talk campaign, TALK. Talk about your problem, ask for help, listen without judgment, and the last one is know where to find help. Right? So these four components really help in actually, number one, identifying, asking, listening without judgment, and then hopefully if the person is struggling, to actually find that help for them if they need it.
4 simple steps. Talk, yeah?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that very, very much. And hopefully it's given some perspective to our viewers out there, especially our live audience as well, on how to identify differences in behavior. Yeah, we're going to be moving forward with spiritual behavior. One last question to Dr. Amir. One of the ways that you can help maintain your sanity is keeping priorities straight. That means know what's important and maybe move down the line. But in the face of COVID-19, all our priorities are mixed up already. We don't know what's important anymore. Is our job more important? Is our family more important? So prioritizing, how can that help?
So I think this is really important for all the viewers out there. The first thing that, we are currently having a situation where the numbers are rising. Some of us are a bit worried, that things might not be what we would like it to be. I think the first thing is to prioritize and have routines. Routines really matter. Right? Routines really matter. And prioritizing those routines are also equally important. So if you want to protect your mental health, it's quite simple. There are normally 4 steps, and some of it will be discussed here. The first of all is you've got to make some time to exercise. I love it when Hairul said just now, just 30 minutes a day. Actually, medically, 30 minutes once every 2 days is fine.
Wow, medically,
about
okay.
120 minutes a week.
Oh, everybody's like, hey, 50 minutes only, yeah.
So kita rakyat marhai ni mungkin 1-2 hari 30 minit okay.
Okay.
Macam Hazrul ni every
gila.
So the second one is to maintain sleep. That's really important. And again, prioritizing your sleep is vital for your mental health. Yeah. The third one, of course, is to also eat right and also maintain some level of wellness in your being. More towards, what do you call this? Relaxation. Yeah? And the fourth one, I think the final one, which we often don't prioritize, is our self-care. So self-care has 8 components. We're discussing at least 4 of them here. Financial self-care, spiritual self-care by Ustaz here, and physical self-care. And you've got other things like psychological self-care, personal self-care. So this is really important to prioritize it. Put it in your diary.
Wow.
Jangan cakap saja. How many times, if you think about it, with friends out there, I want to exercise this week. How many times have you actually been successful? But if you say, I want to exercise on Monday and I put a date there, I want to exercise on Wednesday and I put a date there, I want to exercise on Saturday, you're more likely to do it. So priority is very important.
I'm going to ask 2 fitness freaks here because I know, Raymond, you're also a fitness freak. Do you do that as well? Do you actually schedule fitness time in your calendar?
Yeah, I think I'm that kind of a person that I need a structure.
Wow,
So I like what Dr. Amir mentioned just now, routine. Actually, I did promote that to my colleague as well, whoever I met, when they talk about work stress and things like that. I think what you shared just now on when the demand are more intense than your ability to cope with it, then that's where stress is all about.
Yep.
And I always encourage people, don't look at the stress, look at how you improve and enhance your ability to
combat
do
the
things.
stress, yeah.
Yes, your planning skills, your resourcefulness in finding a solution, your communication skills and things like that. Look at action, then when your ability is become better and stronger, then things that those days stress for you no longer become a stress.
That sense of achievement is there, yeah.
And sometimes stress is relative, right? And I like your talk,
Exactly.
so maybe it's stressful to you, but not to another individual. So then what is the gap there, So sometimes like what you mentioned, just ask.
But I gotta say, there's a danger there as well, because it causes you to have a lack of empathy, just because this problem, I got no problem with this, and then you have a problem. I start thinking, hey, something wrong with you lah, you a strawberry lah, So how healthy is that way of thinking then?
Well, I think the first thing is that Raymond excellently identified about managing stress. He shared with you 3 tips for free, like
Oh, free, yeah.
Three tips. And the more options that you have, the more ability to cope, definitely will reduce the distress potential that you might make. I think the first thing is, of course, as you mentioned, empathy is a thing that is felt and learned. And then having this discussion like this, just putting mental health into that particular conversation, putting spirituality, which is often missed out as well, into the conversation, allows us to be more empathetic. So we really need these kind of forums and discussions to really make people
to actually make the point, yeah, because for someone like, for example, like Raymond, who's interact with people all the time, and so your ability to empathize is really high because you deal with people all the time. So we talk about those who are more recluse, more introverted, who find it difficult to do that. Now, identifying those factors is important to realizing mental health.
I'll share you a little bit of secret before Ira was come in. These kind of forums really help those with anxiety. So don't underestimate the value that we've all taken into today, because now people who can't come forward, like the ones in the audience right now, are actually learning from us online, real time.
Real time, right? And again, to repeat, absolutely free. Well, Malaysians love free stuff.
Nah, sila. Jadi sebenarnya saya rasa buat kita berlima ni ada satu aura yang power.
Apa powernya?
Saya tak tahu macam mana, sebab saya dah ada perasaan yang macam saya rasa kita berlima ni ada mencukupi untuk kehidupan asas manusia. Kehidupan asas yang biasa kita buat.
Untuk
mencapai kegembiraan. Macam tadi saya baru terfikir nak tanya pasal macam mana kalau nak handle stres. Baru dalam hati ni. Mr. Raymond dah cakap kan. Dengar ke?
Ada sinergi, kesinambungan yang ada di sini ya. Atau mungkin kerana moderator dia seorang yang bijak lah sana. Pun boleh jadi tu ya. Terima kasih. Sekarang apa boleh tepuk?
Actually Nas, macam tadi macam apa Nas tanya tadi, saya rasa macam saya untuk mencapai sesuatu benda, saya suka macam doktor cakap dia betul, kita kena letak dekat jadual kan. Tetapi macam saya, saya satu memang jadual, memang tidur betul untuk nak buat sesuatu. Macam saya fokus untuk filem. Filem saya apabila saya nak capai badan yang cantik ataupun target saya untuk filem action yang Malaysia tak pernah buat, saya akan cuba buat satu benda yang orang tak pernah buat.
Wow.
Dan contohnya, masa saya mula-mula berlakon, saya agak sukar untuk mendapat job. Mungkin orang tak kenal, mungkin orang tak bagi peluang sebab mungkin saya baru masa tu. Nak dijadikan cerita, saya teringat zaman sekolah dulu, cikgu pernah cakap, kalau kau nak UPSR 5A, sentiasa tulis 5A supaya kita ingat dan aku kena capai 5A.
Visualization.
Ya, tetapi saya tak buat masa sekolah. Tetapi bila saya dah besar, saya fikir balik macam, apa kata aku try cara macam ni. Dan saya cat kereta saya warna gold.
Wow.
Sebab saya target dulu macam saya main sukan, saya target Olympic gold medal. Apa-apa saya ada gold. So
it's a very strong motivator. Betul.
Dan berjaya.
Walaupun dia tak dapat nilai masa sekolah dulu.
Masa sekolah dulu tak pernah apply benda tu. So pada yang tak pernah try, boleh try benda tu. Lepas tu bila sekali tu saya pernah saya nak ada satu perlawanan badminton. Hanya kawan-kawan saja, tapi bila dicabar, saya cuba untuk training, walaupun saya tahu saya tak pandai main badminton. Tetapi saya cuba macam tu, saya tukar dari segi macam mental saya dah set. Tetapi saya sampai kena macam masuk ke rohanian sebab saya kena dengar lagu Kau Boleh. Saya tahu saya tak boleh buat ni, tapi bila saya dengar lagu, jika kau fikir kau boleh lakukan. Jika ragu-ragu, tak tahu boleh atau tak boleh. Bila fikir kekalahan, jadi kekalahan. Jadi apa yang korang fikir tiap-tiap hari, apa yang korang buat? Itu adalah penting untuk kita.
I like that, the power of visualization and positive thinking. Thank you, Hairul. You are the man. Tu pasal lah you hero Melaya dan saya bukan. But I like the fact you sentuh tentang kerohanian sih. Motivasi to be better, to overcome challenges. Kita ke spiritual wellness atau kerohanian ya. Once again, thank you very much. Round of applause for Dr. Amir for his insights. Thank you so much. I really learned quite a bit. But now on the spiritual path, now faith can be a really strong anchor to keep humanity going in these challenging times. So taking care of ourselves spiritually becomes a priority sebab tu wabak COVID-19 ni. So to share more on spiritual wellness, of course we have Ustaz Haladia. He's also known, kalau you suka tengok RTM, you suka motosikal ni dah dikenali sebagai Ustaz Biker. He didn't wear his suit, I didn't recognize him, you know. He didn't wear his helmet. But betul dia jelajah satu Melaya, then betul he visits mosques and he finds out the history as well as the good things that the mosque does. It's a community center orang kata ya. Bagus, jadi Ustaz Biker yang ada konsep santai tapi sampai. Cewa. Kita nak bertanya kepada Ustaz tentang nak memotivasikan diri secara rohani ya. So in general terms of faith and belief, secara amnya, boleh tak cerita sikit tentang kenapa kerohanian itu sangat penting, mewujudkan kerohanian yang kukuh.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much, Nas. Thank you very much, Sun Life, Mr. Raymond, Cik Hairul, and Dr. Amir. Okay, biasanya kita kalau bercerita kan, kita akan cerita tentang orang tu cantik, orang tu kaya, orang tu sihat,
Orang tu
sebagainya.
handsome,
Handsome macam Nas. Okay, tapi kita kadang lupa tentang spiritual. Okay.
Yes.
Saya nak bagi perumpamaan. Very simple example. Satu botol tu, okay, botol mineral. Harga dia RM1, let's say. Okay, tapi kalau sebab dia air kosong, air mineral kosong. Tapi kalau dia jadi air spring apa? Contoh bukan
Naturally
sparkling
RO
betul.
water,
Betul.
sparkling.
Ataupun yang alkaline ke apa, dia jadi mahal sikit. Kalau dia jadi air buah, dia lagi mahal.
Tambah nilai Ustaz.
Yes, tambah nilai. Tapi sebenarnya botol dia sama je. Okay.
Okay,
Botol dia sama tapi dia punya konten dalam tu. Itu yang menyebabkan harga dia lebih mahal. Kalau dia ubat, lagi mahal. Okay. Dan kalau dia minyak wangi, of course lah lagi mahal. Okay. Dan kalau boleh, botol tu kalau dia nak contoh minyak wangi, dia nak jual minyak wangi tapi pakai botol mineral, tak cantik juga.
Betul.
Dia kena upgrade botol tu jadi botol yang cantik, botol yang ada penutup yang emas, boleh penutup dia besi, and then ada cantik stiker design, bentuk shape yang
Menarik.
pelik sikit, menarik dan sebagainya, barulah jadi minyak wangi yang sangat mahal, perfume yang sangat mahal. Okey, so macam itulah perkembangan spirit kita ni, dia sangat berkait rapat dengan
Luaran kita,
luaran kita. Okey. Jadi macam katakanlah air minyak, kalau kita nak jual minyak wangi pun tiba-tiba pakai botol mineral pun tak jadi juga. Orang tak akan beli dan orang kata apa ni, takkanlah minyak wangi pakai botol mineral. Dia kena pakai botol yang cantik. Macam saya tengok kawan-kawan saya yang minum wine pun sama juga. Dia akan beli wine yang botol cantik, beli kat Langkawi ke mana ke kan. Okay, jadi ada brand-brand yang bagus. Saya cakap, lepas tu tak minum pun. Simpan je kat rumah, tunjuk ni dia beli tahun berapa, tahun 74, yang ni tahun 60.
Oh, beli untuk simpan ke?
Yes. Jadi nak ceritakan sebenarnya itulah nilai spirit yang kita ada. Jadi sebenarnya seseorang tu dia hakikatnya siapa diri dia. Saya Halim Hafiz. Siapa Halim Hafiz? Pada tangan saya ke? Pada kepala saya ke? Pada kaki ke? Nas, mana? Pada misainya ke? Azlan dengan dia punya bau dia ke?
Untuk saya di huruf nunnya.
Okey, di mana kita sebenarnya? Sebenarnya kita di dalam. Okey, even bila kita akan berubah daripada muda jadi tua, daripada kurus jadi gemuk dan sebagainya. Tapi bila kita mati nanti, itulah kita sebenarnya. Spirit itu yang kita ada. Itulah diri kita sebenarnya. Kita akan, bila kita mati, tapi actually kita tak mati pun. Spirit kita akan terus hidup dan dia akan kekal sampai bila-bila.
So again, it's about realizing who we are. Siapa jati diri kita sebenarnya.
Betul. Itu yang sebenarnya. Okey, tubuh kita nak cantikkan tubuh, penting. Nak sihat, penting. Financial, penting. Semua penting. Tapi dia punya bottom line dia ialah apa? Kita sendiri. Iaitu spirit kita lah. Dan kalau badan kita mati pun, spirit kita tak akan mati. Dalam kubur dia akan ada. Dan kita akan berpindah ke alam yang lain.
Mengikut kepercayaan kita.
Yes, mengikut kepercayaan lah. Ada yang incarnation, ada yang masuk ke alam barzah, ada yang jadi dewa dan sebagainya. Tapi yang penting masih meneruskan kehidupan dalam sarung yang lain. So itu yang kita nak kena jelas, bahawa sebenarnya kita ni siapa? Kita ni adalah terletak pada spiritual kita.
Jadi, tapi dalam kesusahan tu di mana kita nampak kelemahan diri kita. Only in adversity do we realize our weaknesses, right? Jadi dalam masa COVID-19 ni, barulah kita nampak, ya Allah, sebenarnya begitu lemah aku masa MCO. Kita sedar kita spend time dengan family kita. Rupanya saya ni bapa yang selalu bekerja, tak pernah spend time dengan anak. Mungkin kita realize yang aku ni asyik marah-marah, sebenarnya aku ni baran orang dia dan sebagainya. But when you start realizing these things about yourself, sebenarnya dia jadi lagi depressed tau. Jadi dari segi rohani tu macam mana kita nak naikkan spirit kita. Bila kita nampak, ya Allah, kita ni begitu banyak kelemahan. Am I even a decent human being?
Okey, sebenarnya kehidupan manusia ni dia akan sentiasa diuji. Okey, dan tujuan ujian tu, test tu Allah bagi pada kita, Tuhan bagi pada kita adalah untuk uplift kita punya grade ataupun kita punya martabat. Okay, so dalam Quran pun sebut ahsiban nas an yutraku an yaqulu amanna wa hum la yuftanun. Adakah kamu sangka kamu dibiarkan untuk hidup begitu tanpa diuji? Setiap manusia mesti akan diuji, dan barang yang tested barulah ada kualiti. Kalau tak ada test, barang tu tak tested, tiba-tiba pergi ke pasaran, mesti barang tu akan something wrong,
ada defect dan sebagainya.
Jadi ujian tu dia datang dalam bentuk pelbagai, dalam bentuk financial, Raymond cakap, dalam bentuk kesihatan, dalam bentuk mental dan sebagainya. Okey, tapi dalam bentuk spirit pun sama juga. Saya melihat COVID ni, kita diajar untuk sentiasa positif. Memang benda tu memang negatif. Siapa yang cakap COVID tu bagus? Tapi kita kena terpandang dari sudut yang positif. Okey, ada hikmah dia. Macam Nas cakap tadi, kalau tak ada MCO, kita tak lepak kat rumah, kita tak spend masa dengan anak kita, kita tak kenal anak kita tak kenal diri kita sendiri. Rupanya aku ni baran, rupanya aku ni pemalas, rupanya aku ni cantik, handsome, masa kat luar, dalam rumah, depan kita, malas nak pakai lawa-lawa. Pakai daripada pagi sampai ke malam tak keluar rumah. Gitu je lah dengan
pakai baju kelawar pagi sampai malam.
Dengan seluar pendeknya, dengan apa. So kita tak kontrol kita punya macho, handsome dan sebagainya. Okey, baru kita sedar, rupa-rupanya aku selama ni pretending to be nice in front of people. Tapi dalam keluarga sendiri kita tak jadi. Sebab tu dalam pasal ni cerita pasal kekeluargaan juga. Sebab tu Nabi pun cakap, orang yang paling baik di kalangan kamu bukan orang yang paling kaya, bukan orang yang paling besar pengaruh, bukan orang yang paling handsome, tapi orang yang paling baik terhadap family dia.
Isteri dia.
Anak isteri. Yang saya suka juga bila tadi doktor cakap pasal maid. Betul. Kadang-kadang hubungan kita dengan maid pun kita tak jaga. Padahal kita sama-sama satu rumah. Kan? Jadi COVID ni sebenarnya memang masalah, tetapi ada hikmah di sebaliknya yang menyebabkan kita boleh cuba kenal diri kita untuk jadi orang yang lebih baik.
Does the rest of the panel believe this as well? When we talk about COVID-19 being a challenge, has this challenge actually brought more focus into your own personalities? Maybe some revelations to think about.
Definitely it has. It's I do a lot of reflection as part of my training, and also part of the way that I manage my mental health as well. And definitely during COVID, when there was a bit of a lull in a lot of activities, clinic sessions, sessions like this and sharing, there's more time for me to self-reflect. And I did, exactly as Ustaz has mentioned, started to reconnect with myself. What are my limitations and strengths? And how can I come back after COVID a bit? And what can I do for people to help them move, like Ustaz has mentioned, into a sort of a new norm, a new person. And that's why I've been really learning a lot in this session today.
I want to touch on that as well, the power of charity, about giving back, on how to cope with COVID. Meanwhile, for Raymond and Hairul, do you feel that you've grown as a person during COVID-19? Have you realized weakness about yourself? You got weakness, Raymond?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Really?
I think maybe I talk about it from the perspective of our business.
Yes.
So I think while we are doing reflection, on our own, but what I see is that the consumer also have realized that the importance of insurance. Yeah. So actually, before that, the conversion or take-up rate, we used to measure that. Like we have a call center. were quite average, quite fat, you know. So, but after COVID, we see the take-up rate come up, you know, because increased, and the consumer are worry about their future. What if they fall sick, you know? So, like in our lifetime, we never expected there's such thing called COVID-19, right? Until the whole country locked down, whole world locked down, and we are all forced to work from home. We talk about working from home, but we never experienced that.
Yes.
Until the reality come in, COVID-19, then every one of us, the entire workforce of Sunlight Malaysia actually work from home. Yeah, so it's unprecedented. So I think from that angle, it's really have a push, you know, the reflection and realization to another level. Yeah, people really appreciate. I really need to prepare for the unforeseen circumstances. You know, we can't predict, but we can plan. So having an insurance plan, a Takafu plan, is a very powerful way of planning.
And taking control, I see, yeah?
Yes,
Taking control.
Taking control, right. So I think that's probably one of the biggest learning, you know, for ourselves. Yeah.
Excellent. That's excellent learning as well. I mean, you're supposed to be learning from your experiences to become a better person. So for Hairul pula macam mana?
Macam pengalaman saya, saya baru sedar yang selama ni saya banyak menghabiskan duit untuk benda-benda yang
remeh.
Betul. Bila saya duduk di rumah tu, saya banyak saving duit.
Yes.
Itu salah satu. Yang keduanya, selepas PKP, bila saya jumpa kawan-kawan ada yang suami isteri yang hubungan tidak baik sebelum tu, tetapi disebabkan PKP macam Ustaz cakap tadi, jangan kita pandang negatif, kita fikir yang side positif. Side positifnya, rumah tangga menjadi lebih akrab.
Itu saya setuju. I have never enjoyed a better relationship with my wife since COVID-19. Oh tu, first gaduh-gaduh tu lah. Gaduh mesti ada. Lepas gaduh baru sayang. Macam tu kan. Just a reminder as well, especially with talking about motivation on the spiritual point of view as well as mental health. Please do drop your questions in the box. I will be addressing them as soon as possible. Jangan khawatir, panel ni semuanya terbuka minda mereka, and I think we're pretty comfortable to discuss anything kan. So let's talk about anger pula. In COVID-19, in the wake of COVID-19, there's a lot of anger and frustration, born from frustration. You might have lost your job. You might have fought with your wife. You might have squandered your business through no fault of your own. There's so much anger. So you hit out your boss, marah boss. Bos bodoh, siapa suruh dia pecat saya? Anak-anak kita bodoh, siapa suruh dia jigit? Isteri saya bodoh, semua orang bodoh. But what are we really angry at? Ustaz, can you ulahkan sikit?
Dia marah semua orang.
Marah, tapi dia tak marah dia.
Dia marah bos dia. Kalau dia bos pun dia marah staff dia. Whatever lah, mana yang dia marah semua orang. Actually dia marah kat siapa?
Yes.
Actually dia marah kat diri dia sendiri. Betul. Sebab dia tak dapat terima ujian yang sedang melanda atas diri dia.
That's the nail, right? Sebenarnya dia marah kat diri sendiri.
Yes.
Tapi apa yang dia marah? Sebab dia tak boleh terima norma baru ini?
Atau
mungkin dia nampak kelemahan diri dia macam mana, Ustaz?
Okey, sebagai seorang manusia, dia kena ingat, hidup ni penuh dengan ujian. Dan setiap ujian datang adalah untuk tingkatkan level kita.
Level up orang kata.
Level up. Okay, so maknanya you tak boleh level up diri you kalau you tak diuji. Kan kita sekolah pun ada tadi apa 5A, PSR, PTT, ada SPM, baru you boleh naikkan diri you. SPM dah buat apa?
Kau SPM berapa?
Jadi you kena test dulu, baru you boleh qualify yourself. Okay, I'm gini. Sebab so sekarang ni dalam kehidupan pun macam-macam ujian. So bila ujian ni COVID-19, satu dunia kena, tak ada siapa yang terkecuali. The whole world kena. So semua orang, kalau lagi dia seorang je kena, mungkin dia boleh marah. Kan? Kenapa saya seorang kena gini? Tapi kalau ada satu dunia kena, takkan dia nak marah orang lain juga? Takkan nak marah siapa je? So maknanya dia kat sini, saya cakap sebenarnya kat sini lah nak menilai diri kita siapa ni. Kita ni air mineral kosong ke? Ataupun air kopi brew apa benda ke? Ataupun kita ni ubat ke? Ataupun minyak wangi ke? Kat situ. Kat sini kita nak nilai yang mana siapa diri kita yang sebenarnya. So kalau dengan anak pun you boleh marah, dengan wife pun you boleh marah, maknanya it's too bad. Benda ni sebab
there's really something wrong with within kan.
Yes.
Selalunya lah.
Ya, jadi perlu dibetulkan.
Hopefully this is something to reflect on everybody
Lepas tu
else.
jangan salahkan anak lah bila anak mengamuk tantrum. Sebab kita dah menunjukkan contoh, betul?
Betul sekali. Walaupun ada anak yang ketegak juga, actually. So before we move on to our first question, we're going to be opening the Q&A session right now. I wanted to touch on something Dr. Amir mentioned, which is helping other people, the power of charity or sadaqah. Do you feel, Ustaz, and Doctor, you can, and it's open to the panel as well, that when you're at your lowest low, macam, "Ya Allah, why has COVID done this to me?" The answer is to find someone who's even worse off than you. And there's always someone worse off than you. And either it's money, time, atau tenaga, kita cuba tolong orang tersebut. How does that help you spiritually?
Okay, actually kita kena selalu mengamalkan budaya pay forward.
Pay it forward. I
Pay
like that.
forward. So maknanya sebelum kita dapat sesuatu, kita kena bayar dulu. Sebelum kita nak orang tolong kita, baik kita tolong dulu. Sebelum kita nak dapatkan kasih sayang daripada keluarga kita, baik kita kasih mereka dulu. So you must pay forward and then you get back.
You are in control, ya?
Okay. Jadi actually you cakap tadi sedekah. Sedekah dalam bahasa Arab lah, contribution charity kan. Okay. Sedekah means betul, membetulkan, mengiyakan. Okay. So bila kita sedekah maknanya kita membetulkan yang kita ni beriman pada Tuhan. Nice. Everybody here mesti semua kata, I beriman pada Tuhan. Tuhan yang bagi rezeki, Tuhan yang bagi kita hidup, Tuhan yang bagi kita duit, Tuhan yang everything lah, semua Tuhan. So sekarang ni kita kena percaya yang Tuhan segala-galanya. Salah satu cara untuk memprovekan yang kita betul-betul percaya ialah kita bagi duit.
Dan kita reda.
Dan kita reda.
God will always give me more.
Yeah. Sebab tu boleh ke saya cakap pasal takaful sikit?
Boleh, boleh mesti. Sebab I do believe takaful also is a form of.
Okay. Actually takaful kan dia memang a very good platform untuk kita buat charity sebab kita bagi charity pada orang dan orang lain yang akan gunakan untuk kesusahan mereka. Without tanpa kita tahu. Kita tak tahu pun rupanya ada orang dia masuk hospital pakai duit kita. Duit tu duit kita bayar ramai-ramai masuk dalam satu fund and then that fund tu yang akan coverage dan sebagainya. So duit itulah yang sebenarnya memberikan pahala pada kita.
Dan barakah yang kita terima daripada
barakah. And then at the same time rupa-rupanya oleh kerana kita bagi charity kat situ patutnya kita kena sakit. Tapi oleh kerana kita bagi charity kita tak sakit. Patutnya kita kena COVID tau. Contohlah
terus seram sikit.
Tapi because kita buat charity, so Tuhan jaga kita, Tuhan selamatkan kita. You nak mana? You nak kena duduk kat rumah, pension, main dengan anak-anak, marah-marah ke ataupun you nak duduk hospital, kena COVID. You pilih. So jadi bersyukurlah kerana Tuhan tak select you to be one of the victims. Okay, so you dah selamat. So apa yang you perlu buat, you kena stay home baik-baik dan sebagainya and then do charity. Yang paling mudah ialah bagi duit.
Bagi duit, that's the easiest lah.
Yes.
Macam saya ada satu pengalaman, macam Ustaz cakap tadi. Apabila saya duduk di rumah, kawan-kawan yang geng-geng main badminton, futsal, semua bercakap macam, oh aku dah stres dah duduk rumah. Nak dijadikan cerita, saya ada terbuka satu Facebook, ada satu orang terkena COVID. Suami dia dah meninggal dan dia pun terkena. So saya dapat nombor phone dia. Saya call, mungkin ada benda yang saya nak buat untuk dengan dia. Tapi saya call untuk tanyakan khabar. Apa di dalam masa dia dekat hospital, dia sangat-sangat stres. Saya rasa macam saya ni hina. Saya ni hina. Orang datang tutup macam angkasawan katanya. Lepas tu suami saya meninggal, saya tak dapat salam, saya tak dapat minta maaf. Masa dia pergi tu saya tahu dia meninggal je.
Nak pergi hubung pun tak.
Ya, sampai saya tahu, saya dapat tengok kat berita. Saya tahu, oh suami saya meninggal hari ni. So ini gambaran dia. Saya tak dapat
so sad.
kubur.
That's really sad.
Macam mana korang dekat rumah, macam mana korang kat rumah boleh katakan korang bosan duduk kat situ, dekat rumah, hanya untuk menjaga kesihatan, menjaga keselamatan. Macam mana orang dengan yang kena COVID?
Rasa selfish pula kan?
Kat mana kita? Kenapa kita tak boleh bersyukur? Sampai saya pun ada dekat terasa macam, lamanya duduk rumah lama tak kerja. Tetapi bila dengar macam tu saya macam, sampai macam tu sekali, sampai yang ada ni ayah dia meninggal, suami dia meninggal, so anak dia kena. So dia pun kena. So macam apa saya nak buat? Hina ke saya ni? So korang janganlah tulis dekat Facebook yang saya stres dekat rumah, duduk rumah. Bila lah habis nak COVID ni. So kita tak tahu apa yang orang kena, berapa ramai yang terkena COVID-19 kan. At least kita respect each other macam cakap tadi. Kita respect kita punya orang gaji ataupun sesiapa. Salah ke kalau kita tiap-tiap hari datang kerja, hi good morning, orang yang tengah orang cleaner ni, hi good morning, cantik je awak.
Kalau semua artis rendah diri macam ni kan hebat industri kita. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is really good comment. I like that, especially coming from an A-star, movie star orang kata kan, to have that awareness of yes, everyone's human, and you give a little bit of humanity to be human. I think that's what we want to take out here. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give a big round of applause to our 4 panelists right here. Really great sharing session that we've had. And now we're going to be opening the question and answer session. There's quite a few questions I've been told. Suku over there has been going, faster. So,
Satu soalan RM2 eh?
satu orang dulu. Wow. Wow, dahsyat betul lah.
Jadi saya masuk charity ya.
Kalau dia simpan dia businessman, kalau dia bagi dia baik. Macam tu. Okay, this question is for Raymond. With the pandemic and the current economic climate, some may think it's better to save money rather than spend it on things like insurance. What are your thoughts on this? Is it a mindset problem or is it truly a financial problem?
I think during time of uncertainties, it is quite common that people will need to think twice and be very cautious of what they're going to do. Yeah, particularly when dealing with money. Yeah, so generally you see here, people are not that willing to spend, because of confidence level. They're worried about the future because of so much of uncertainty ahead of us. Yeah, so fundamentally, we ask ourselves when we look at our portfolio, how are we going to handle our money? So we need to ask ourselves, like I mentioned just now, we are okay today. Are we okay tomorrow? Tomorrow, yeah. So I think that's very important. So this is going to be a question that is customized and tailored to individual situation.
Okay.
Of course, for people who have access, they have their medical expenses taken care of, they have access asset, put aside for unforeseen circumstances. That I think is that is fine. I think they are very lucky, very privileged. But I think generally, looking at the Malaysian population, I think the B40, the M40, I think every one of these group will have some form of needs,
Difficulties,
for them while they are tackling the current financial needs and cash flow. They need to think ahead. Because the reality is, you look at the EPF statistics, more than 80% of the EPF contributor, exhausted the entire EPF savings, within the first 3 years after they retired. So that's a reality, right? So what are we going to do about it? So I think for this, I think it's a very relevant question, and we really need to reflect on it, And insurance generally is something people agree that is important, but not urgent. They thought I can defer, But in reality, the longer you defer, the more difficult for you, to get yourself insured. So, end of the day, for me, I think insurance is certainly very important during uncertain time. Like I mentioned just now, during such a pandemic, people seeking certainty, peace of mind. I think in today's world, for the past couple of months, nothing is more precious than peace of mind, that I have the peace to do the things that I want to do, So I think it's contrary that we need to have that planning. Yeah.
But before you do the things that you want to do, it's even more prudent to save some for a rainy day. Then with what's left, you do what you want to do.
Maybe dia berfikir macam ni tau. Okay, saya ada duit certain amount, 500 let's say. Okay, I nak beli nasi, I nak beli makanan, I kena bayar bil elektrik. Bil insurance punya contribution tu
Last.
Bil daripada I bayar insurance, I bayar bil elektrik dulu, I bayar makan dulu, duit susu dulu. Macam mana?
That's true.
So I think generally is this, how people prioritize is those are fundamental, you need to eat, you need to have a roof on top and things like that. So the rule of thumb is that 5 to 10% of your gross income, you need to put aside for this. It's not like it's going to take out your entire cash flow. Yeah. So like for Sun Life, we have those insurance program is as low as 5 ringgit a month.
Oh my goodness.
10 ringgit a month, for quite substantial coverage. And then you can go as high as up to 30,000 a year, 50,000 a year kind of product, So I must say that insurance planning, this forced savings program is customized to your affordability,
And to
your
your
financial situation, your needs. Yeah. So like it can be as low as 5 ringgit. So suddenly it will not become a burden. But what is more importantly is that like for health and everything else, we need to get ourselves started.
The discipline.
Yeah, need to get ourselves started. I think that is very important.
And
Yeah.
I think that's key as well.
Yep.
For you guys to start planning your lives actually.
Yep.
Because I was a young reporter once, getting a survey from married couples and single people. The most common answer from single people when I asked, do you have an insurance plan? One floor just didn't say, just smile. I plan to have insurance. Until now, no plan.
Tapi pada tak silap saya, bukan ke 2.5% gaji bukan untuk kita.
That is zakat.
Pada zakat. Tapi kalau kita buatkan benda yang sama, lebih kurang macam kita, macam Ustaz sini cakap tadi, kita kena bagi dulu untuk kita dapat yang kemudian, walaupun kita tak minta, kita berserah. Macam sama juga insurans bagi saya. Kalau kita bagi dulu, untuk kita tak tahu apa yang akan jadi esok lusa. Kan? Lebih kurang konsep yang sama. Kan?
Absolutely right.
Kan, Doktor?
Well, because first of all, the first thing is I don't look at it as a cost. I look at it as an investment. And I think it goes back to your first conversation about protecting health and peace of mind. You're exactly right.
Perception.
During the COVID period, the uncertainty was the one that distressed most of us, actually. The sudden, the sudden call for MCO. Today we're sitting here, today have this conversation, 2 days later we're all at home. This uncertainty, this unpredictability. So when you have an investment or some kind of, reassurance, that really helps. Secondly is that we also have to remember financial health is mental health. Financial health is mental health. And I'm really encouraged to know that there's a 5 ringgit plan because the bottommost person maybe can invest 5 ringgit a month. And that would definitely help with his mental health because I'm worried personally that moving forward, because of the pandemic that's global, that the concern that will come later, first we talked about health, but later, as we know, as you've shared just now about Sun Life and your thoughts as a CEO for the company, is the financial well-being and sustainability. So it's a company and individual. So financial health is mental health, and I think we really need to press that.
I like the fact that this is the first time I've heard a psychologist actually say it out loud. Financial health is mental health. That's something for us to consider very much. Yeah. Thank you for your question. I think we've got some more questions in the pipeline. Let's take a look at the next one. Hopefully, the question's been answered. Oh, this one's for Hairul. How pretty are your eyes? Tak ada tipunya. How do you think parents can encourage the whole family to exercise together? This is true. During MCO time, my goodness, my children were locked on my devices, and because I felt so kesian, and so I let it go until it became a problem. And I look at your Instagram, you are jumping here, jumping there with your children. So show us the secret, Sifu. Sifu.
Okay, setiap orang ada pandangan dan cara masing-masing. So bukannya cara saya betul, bukan cara itu salah, tidak. Pada pandangan saya, macam saya dengan anak-anak, saya wife dengan anak-anak, apalah salahnya kalau kata kita bermain dengan orang daripada kita pegang phone ataupun bagi diorang phone.
Social physical,
Ya, sebab dia sebenarnya adalah kenapa diorang ni bermain phone sebab kita ni malas. Kita sama je, Nas.
Aduh, sakitnya.
Nas, kita sama je. Kita sama je. Okey, sebab kita ni malas. Macam saya sendiri pun saya malas. Malah saya kadang saya tengok macam adik-beradik saya, cousin saya semua macam kita lebih senang untuk bagi gadget supaya macam aku nak makan ni, kau main pun dah. Sebab benda tu memang simple. Tetapi macam saya dengan wife selalu bercakap dan soalan ni saya selalu sangat dapat, tetapi saya tak pernah pun nak bersuarakan dekat Instagram atau Facebook sebab bagi saya setiap orang ada cara masing-masing. So mana yang sesuai dengan orang, selesa dengan orang, apa tu orang buat. Sebab saya dengan macam cakap tadi, saya dengan wife saya selalu berfikiran ini je masa untuk saya tidur dengan anak-anak. Apabila dia dah remaja nanti, sampai dia kahwin, dia tak akan tidur dengan kita. Ini je masa untuk saya main dengan anak-anak. Saya macam letak phone jap, jom kita macam mana Daddy Pascal tadi. So buat macam tu supaya saya dengan dia ada aktiviti.
And the bond apa tu
Yes,
is created as
betul.
well.
Sebab kalau tidak kita asyik lagi, kita akan biarkan dia akan buat apa benda yang nak buat. Lepas tu kita nak, dan saya tak nafikan, saya sendiri pun akan bagi dia tengok TV, tapi bukan pegang phone, bukan pegang iPad. Sebab setiap Sabtu dan Ahad saya bagi anak-anak saya tengok TV. Ada time. So time tu diorang tengok TV, satu hari diorang tengok okay ni hari kau. Tapi 5 hari tu diorang akan main aktiviti, baca buku ataupun main cari, diorang akan create sendiri. Sebab saya teringat masa zaman saya kecil, saya tak ada handphone. Saya boleh buat. Sebab ayah saya selalu macam, jom kita pergi training. Saya kena training dulu hidupan saya.
Taekwondo
Taekwondo. So hidupan saya sampai macam, bila nak berhenti taekwondo ni? Sebab dah tiap hari buat. So kita boleh buat benda yang sama dekat anak-anak kita. Dengan kita spend masa dengan diorang berbanding dengan kita bagi phone, memang betul senang. Kadang-kadang saya nampak cousin saya macam, aku nak makan ni. Tengoklah kartun ni. So anak dia memang diam. Tetapi bila anak dia sampai satu masa tak dapat tab ataupun phone, dia akan jadi marah. Dia macam, biasa boleh bagi, kenapa tak boleh bagi? Tapi kita boleh terangkan, okay, ni untuk Sabtu Ahad je. Ini mungkin 1 jam je. So, boleh je, tak ada masalah. Dan
that's a pretty good tip. That's a really good tip because someone psychologist actually another forum that implemented before, he actually said jangan sampai bila anak you ada masalah, dia tak pergi kat you, dia pergi kat telefon dia tanya Google. Jangan sampai parents rasa sedih hati kenapa anak I tak close dengan I, dia tanya Google kenapa dia ada girlfriend problem. Come on man, you know. It starts with
Siri.
Siri, why I don't have girlfriend? It's susah.
Macam soalan selalu saya dapat, dia kata, okay, kalau lah ada orang bagi Yusof tab, cousin bagi tab ke apa, saya akan macam, tak apalah. Takkan macam tadi kita always respect each other kan. So takkan itu mungkin cara dia dah biasa macam tengok ni Yusof apa kata tu, saya akan biarkan dulu. So at least macam Yusof boleh tengok kejap, lepas tu saya akan pergi sebelah dia tanpa yang tu dengar. Yusof, ingat tak Sabtu Ahad dia tengok? Okay Daddy.
Daddy dia strict betul, dahsyat.
Tapi jarang. Kita boleh tak tali sebab benda tu macam saya cakap tadi. Mungkin cara masing-masing lain-lain. So bergantung dengan cara anda. So jangan rasa cara saya tu betul. So apa ni pengalaman saya.
So cubalah, jangan berani untuk cuba. Raymond missed it out because his son already 21. So you miss out all the stress you lucky lah you. Raymond. Alright, we'll take a look at the next question. For Hairul juga. Bukan. This was for Dr. Amir. Mental health can be a complicated topic to discuss. Yes. Things like paranoia and fear among children is something parents find difficult to discuss. So any tips on addressing this?
I think, I'm really moved by what Hairul was talking. I mean, what I listened just now was the communication between husband and wife and actually parents and child. And I think we're going to discuss something like mental health. It has to start from home and has to start from us. So first of all, going back again to the mantra that health includes the 3 components. Not just talk about exercising, not just talk about spirituality, but also being mindful about how you regulate and address emotions. Sometimes you've got parents, as Ustaz mentioned just now, you're angry and then you shut it out. Kids learn from their parents. So sometimes it's just by the fact the parent tells the child, I'm actually feeling angry, permission to discuss about emotions is actually one way to start the conversation about mental health. Secondly, it's about building resilience, because resilience is really important. Ketahanan diri. And this again needs a conversation because people feel insecure. People feel with a lack of self-esteem, but they don't know who to voice it out. That's why you have that question, Siri, how do I maintain my self-esteem?
Yes.
Right? Really having that conversation. So if a dad comes and says, I've had a really bad day, my boss scolded me. The son who was at school was just scolded by his teacher. Maybe,
so he can empathize,
that they can have that conversation. Daddy, I had that same problem as well. So already you have created in your family a conversation about such a difficult topic like mental health. It's also,
I never thought about it. It's so simple, isn't it?
It's the simplest things are normally the hardest to do. Right?
That is true.
Exercise. Exercise pusat. Berapa kali again, nak kata exercise juga. I think the third one is also about maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Again, very difficult to maintain if you're not doing it yourself. You say exercise, son. You say sleep well, doctor. Tapi you malam 2 pagi still online. Yeah? You're looking like you didn't exercise at all. So how are you expecting your child to actually do these things that you want them to do because you know it's healthy for them, but you're not doing it yourself? A good one is quit smoking. Yeah? Because we know that smoking and any other drug addiction causes poor mental health. How do you have that conversation if you yourself are actually doing these particular negative habits?
Already.
So this is really important for people to just look back at themselves. Macam Ustaz kata tadi, kita ada masa COVID itu untuk reflect. Kita punya kekangan dan kebaikan kita mungkin keluar masa itu. It's time for us to reflect and have that conversation because it's the new norm, kan?
Betul.
So this is a really opportunity for us to change the way. And mental health issues were at the forefront during probably the second month of MCA. Kalau you tak pernah rasa isu kesihatan mental tu penting, bulan kedua tu you rasa something.
Mesti rasa.
Marah, frust, panic, takut, murung, masalah tidur, makan berlebihan, macam-macam isu. Kalau masa tu you tak faham lagi kesihatan mental, itulah dia. That is what it is. That is mental
And to not act upon it and to show it to your children. Macam kata kita balik di office, kita marah. Lepas tu kita diam. Anak kita tak tahu kita ada problem kat office. Dia tengok, ayah ni marah je. My son actually drew a picture of me once. So mami cantik kan. Abah dilukis. I tak tahu you pernah tengok Inside Out. Dia ada karakter sad, angry, happy, sebagainya. Dia lukis saya, color merah, kepala berapi. Macam why? Abah is anger. Ya Allah. And I reflected. Why does he think I'm angry all the time? I'm a happy guy. I'm a happy. What else? Betul marah. Then you talk about, because I've kept it in. And if I just say to my son, I'm sorry, Abah today, Abah is really angry because something happened to me. Something simple like that could change my life.
Yeah, in fact, you've really, hit the nail again because that opportunity, not many people will even consider.
Yes.
Right? We're having this conversation. So the first thing is actually to know about yourself, as Usai mentioned, know about how to regulate your feelings. And secondly, identify what are the consequences if you don't do that, which we've discussed just now.
Yes.
So now that we understand that, when you're asking about our children, we're now able to look at that particular thing in a different light.
Itulah masa yang tadi betul apa yang Dr. cakap tadi tu, kita kena berbincang, betul, macam saya dengan anak-anak, apabila saya marah, saya akan marah dia apa benda yang saya marah dan saya akan suruh wife saya, ini macam kita kena
satu hati ya.
Kena satu hati, kena macam wife saya akan pergi, kenapa ayah kau marah? Kalau tak dia macam tadi doktor cakap kan, kalau kata ada problem kita kena cerita sebenarnya tadi kena marah dengan bos, kena marah dengan ni apa semua. Tetapi tak siapa nak dengar. Macam anak kita pun kalau kata saya marah, Hanis akan macam, okey kenapa ayah kau marah? Kalau Hanis marah, okey ayah your turn. Okey.
Wow.
Kenapa Mami marah?
Wah, so it's good teamwork.
Betul, ini dah relationship goals ni.
Ini relationship goals. Saya nak macam ni. I came here as a moderator on this, trying to do my job, but I'm ending up learning a lot more. So thank you so much to our panelists. Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Saya pun rasa macam banyak
kita rasa macam kita ayah yang hina macam tu. Banyaknya kita tak tahu.
Saya belajar tadi, rupanya kita kena buat skrip untuk marah anak kita.
Ada skrip.
Ada skrip.
Kita ada skrip.
Okay, my plan sini gini and then you pula cakap sini.
Bagus. It's great communication. A secret to a group in the face of adversity, COVID-19. Yeah. So we have time until we have one last question. Mental health can be a complicated topic. Oh no, this one we discussed already. Do we have one more question? Do we have time for one more question? All right, we're going to field this next one. For Ustaz Halim, what is your advice for parents who are struggling with their own faith? Yes, this is basically parents who are losing faith during these times of struggle. Kenapa benda ni jadi? I plan business, COVID datang, semuanya hancur. Why? And they lose faith. Hilang pedoman.
Okay. Saya ambil kata-kata daripada Sayyidina Ali. Dia kata apa? Saya happy kalau saya doa and then Tuhan bagi. Tapi saya lebih happy kalau saya doa Tuhan tak bagi. Okay, saya ulang balik. Saya happy bila saya doa Tuhan bagi kerana itu apa yang saya nak. Tapi saya lebih happy kalau saya doa Tuhan tak bagi sebab itu apa yang Tuhan nak.
He knows what's best for you.
Yes. So kadang-kadang kita minta, rupanya kita minta benda yang salah. It doesn't, dia tak bagus untuk kita. Tapi kadang-kadang, so bila kita minta benda yang salah, Tuhan tak bagi sebab Tuhan nak bagi something yang better and the best for us. So sebab tu kadang-kadang kita rasa macam, oh aku nak sangat benda, suka sangat. Kita tak dapat. Rupa-rupanya ada benda baik lagi yang berlaku. So think positif, nanti mesti kita akan dapat yang lebih baik daripada apa yang kita sangkakan.
So kita kembali kepada reflection ni Ustaz.
Yes, betul. Reflection tadi yang disebutkan gambaran-gambaran. So kita tahu Tuhan tak zalim pada kita. Tuhan itu maha baik. Dia akan berikan yang terbaik pada kita walaupun kadang-kadang kita buat dosa. Kita buat jahat, kita buat benda yang Tuhan tak suka. Tapi sebenarnya Tuhan sayang pada kita. So kalau Tuhan tegur kita, dia bagi punish, bukan maknanya Tuhan tak benci pada kita. Tapi sebenarnya Tuhan sayang pada kita, Tuhan nak tegur kita supaya kita back on track.
So pendosa tak bererti tidak disayangi ya.
Ya, betul.
Well done Ustaz, well done. I love that very much. I really want to continue this because I'm learning so much and I'm having quite a bit of fun. I don't know about you guys. I'm having quite a bit of fun right here. But we have to bring the session to a close. I'm hoping for everyone out there to continue to stay. We're going to have a virtual online photo session. So we're going to ask you to switch on your cameras and get ready for an online group photo session. All right, and now we've come to the end of the evening. We'd like to ask for everyone to switch on your cameras for the online photography session. So while we work out how we're going to do this, it's going to be 25 people at a go. So 25 people. How many people do we have? About 200? About 200 people, so we've got about 8 photo sessions. So we're preparing it right now. Once again, those of you online, switch on your cameras. Don't be shy lah, don't be shy. And those of you who logged in, of course, wearing your pajamas, maybe you change your pajamas lah. We give you 5 minutes to change your pajamas. Meanwhile, to Raymond, to Hairul, Dr. Amir, and Ustaz Halim, Ustaz Biker kita, terima kasih banyak-banyak. Once again, a round of applause to our 4 panelists. Speaking about our 4 topics, which is physical wellness, we talk about mental health, mental wellness, spiritual wellness, and that wellness in your pocket, the financial wellness, and everything interlinks with one another. That's what I want to showcase right here. All the 4 topics we've discussed, they don't exist in a vacuum. You don't just solve financial wellness or financial problems. You don't just solve spiritual problems, fitness problems. They all link to one another. And I think the best message we can take up of all this is when you listen to forums such as this, it's not okay to just sit down and listen. Okay, it's cool. It's about taking heed of what's been spoken, to reflect and internalize what's been said, and to be honest with yourself. I think no point going to forum after forum, going to seminar after seminar, if you fail to realize the problems or the challenges lie within you. I'd like to say here that it is a choice. Every time you wake up in the morning, it is a choice to do it this way. It is a choice to do it that way. And if you choose to do it this way and it doesn't work, it is also your choice to do it differently instead of having failure again and again and again. So maybe final words to wrap up. Raymond, how would you like to tell our audience as they're getting ready their cameras and the online photo?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think on behalf of Sunlight Malaysia, I just want to express our heartfelt appreciation and thank you for tuning in. Actually, it's a privilege for us to host this event, and I hope ladies and gentlemen, tuan puan out there, all of you benefited and enjoy this special e-forum. And to all the Sunlight friends out there, hello, yeah, life is brighter under the sun. Maybe we should do this more often.
We should. All right, we've got our first batch right here.
Yeah.
Let's all smile for the cameras. Everybody, switch on your cameras and give us a big smile. Look at it. Oh, beautiful. Nazrul Rahman signing off online. Hopefully you guys have a great day ahead. Life is brighter on the sun. Assalamualaikum everyone. Have a great day. Thank you all to members of the audience. Terima kasih banyak-banyak kerana observe SOP and social distancing. Hopefully you guys got good moments out of that session as well. Thank you so much.